So A24, the Philippou brothers and Bill Hinzman have kind of set the horror media world and the horror tube world, based on what I've seen, kind of on fire with this new film, Bring Her Back. And I've been interested in seeing it since I first heard about it. Went into it mostly blind, and I have now seen the film. Um, and I definitely have thoughts. So have a seat, grab a drink, let's do it.
We are the DFPN. Always question the answers.
So, first off, welcome back to Nightmares and Nerdscapes. I'm CJ, and this is CJ Reviews. Not sure which episode is because I don't count them. But today we're going to be talking about Bring Her Back, as I stated in the intro. So, brand new movie opened up yesterday, um, directed by the Philippou brothers, who most people know from Talk. Well, I'll say that I know from Talk to Me. They had, from my understanding, a pretty decent YouTube following prior to that, which is kind of how they got kicked off in film. Um, so a great, really homegrown story as far as the filmmakers go. But Bring Her Back itself is essentially the story of a brother and sister who, brother and stepsister, who find their dad dead at home and are forced into the foster system. Two kids are Andy, played by Billy Barrett, and Piper, played by Sora Wong, um, both of which do an outstanding job in the roles that they're given. And they are forced to move in with a foster mother for about 3 months until Andy's old enough to be able to petition for guardianship of Piper. And the lady that they go to live with is named Laura, played by Sally Hawkins, who is also spectacular in this movie. Um, and then the movie kind of unravels from there. The tag or the synopsis off IMDb, for example, says a brother and sister uncover a terrifying ritual at the secluded home of their new foster mother. Um, yes and no. As far as how that tagline goes, that gives you a little bit of an idea of what's going on, but really not a whole lot. This is a film that kind of combines genre in a way that is kind of interesting. I've always been a fan of darker movies, and this is a very dark movie. It is not what I would call an entertaining movie. This is not a Final Destination Bloodlines or a Drop or a Hard Eyes where you're going to go in and really enjoy your hour and I think 45 minutes. But you will get a decent, you'll get a good cinematic experience out of it. It is a film that moves the needle and makes you feel things. Um, Essentially, what you're dealing with is a story about grief and its impact, not only on the people who have lost loved ones, but on those around them, right? And how far it will drive someone to try to fill that void. It's a very heavy subject matter that is handled, I think, very very well. Um, I will say that this is a better made film than Talk to Me. Um, my opinion, again, I'm no scholar, I'm just a fan, but I found this film to be much more engaging visually. I think the sound design was better, and I think the overall story is better. I think it's a more mature story, and it's handled in a very clean way for most of the runtime. If you watch any other reviews, I know you've run into some folks that are saying that they lost me at this one specific point. And I know the point they're talking about. And I think you will too once you go see the movie. But I'm going to keep it spoiler free. But a lot of folks are basically saying that the film loses them at that point and is never able to recover. For me, I could identify the point that they were talking about, that they're referring to, but I don't think it took away from or added to the ending in any way, really. I think with the story that they were attempting to tell, with the characters that they had involved, I think the arc was completed in a way that made sense for the story that they were telling. It is not one, again, that I enjoyed. It is not a theater that, or it is not an experience that I walked out of the theater saying, good, right? There was no release of tension at all through this film, which I think is my biggest complaint. It starts, it starts dark, um, and then stays there for the entirety of the runtime. This is a relentless film. Um, Now, from a horror standpoint, and a quote unquote scary movie standpoint, this is not a film that frightened me. It was not scary by my definition of scary, right? What it was emotionally exhausting. There are images in this film that touch on some, I don't want to say phobias, but on some types of body horror that are exceedingly difficult for some people to handle. I think that's where a lot of this, the most disturbing film of 2025, is coming from. I've seen far worse, or better, depending on your take, right? For me, I think the body horror from this most closely resembles the body horror from Lee Whannell's Wolfman. Um, that being said, I think that the way it was handled in Wolfman was a bit more, it felt more organic. I feel like here it was not shoehorned in, because I don't think they put it in just for shock factor, right? Or just for shock value. But I think had the Philippou brothers built more on the first 5 to 10 minutes of this film, I think the body horror would have been more warranted. Um, that being said, the special effects in this film are gnarly as fuck. Um, it looks realistic. It is visceral. It is brutal in many ways. Um, the violence here is very on the nose and very on point. In a lot of ways, this kind of reminded me of Hereditary, both from a mood standpoint and an execution standpoint to a certain extent. I don't. This film does not go as batshit crazy in the third act as Hereditary did, and I'm glad that it didn't. Just because this was a, it was an intense experience, but it was one that had a clear cut ending. Right there is no cliffhanger to this. It is a mostly self-contained story. It is a narrative that doesn't have too many tangents or offshoots, but they did a good enough job with the world building, from a mechanic standpoint of how the supernatural works in this, that they could tell more stories in this universe. I don't know that I want to see them, but it's there. And with this currently sitting at, I think, a 7.5, 7.7 on IMDb, and probably and trending up. Um, I think this might be one of those where we see some additional takes on it. Now, this is a hard one to talk about because I really want to dig into it without spoiling anything. Jesus, without spoiling anything. But it's kind of hard to do so. I will simply say that the ending of this film, if you're following this as a tale where grief is the antagonist, it works very well. It works very well. Um, if you're not, and you're looking at the people as the protagonists and antagonists in this film, that is where it starts to lose it a little bit. I think, for a lot of people. But from a metaphorical standpoint, it hits the notes of grief as the antagonist very, very well. This is a sad movie. It is dark. It is not happy. There is no very, very few shining moments. I think you might see a ray of sunshine, an actual ray of sunshine in this film once, but um, the directors do a very, very good job of highlighting that and spending time on it so that you understand that that moment of ease and of relaxation is very much the calm before the storm. And the storm is fucking wild. There are some effects in here that I heard audible gasps from. I know looking at a lot of the different reviews, a lot of people are saying that some of this imagery will stay with them for a while. Um, didn't really hit me that hard. That being said, I've been watching horror for 30 years, more than 30 years. I'm not exactly young anymore. And I have seen imagery that goes above and beyond what this film does. I will say that this film, in comparison of some more recent ones, it sticks out. It's of the modern horror films. I would say from a gore standpoint and from a special effects standpoint, this one stands up very, very well, and it should be stand out to a lot of people. But am I gonna have nightmares about this thing? No, I'm just not. But really, again, this is a hard one to talk about, um, and I don't script my reviews. I think you guys have probably figured that out by now. When I'm talking about a movie, I want you guys to get my real thoughts. I don't want you to get them edited and diluted and change this word to make this sound all that shit. I don't have time for that nonsense. So my unfiltered response walking out of this film was, well, and that was it. I don't feel like I wasted my money, but had I not gone to see it, I don't think I would have been upset to watch it on streaming. Um, the storyline and the narrative were handled well, but they didn't blow me away. Um, I will say that the child actors in this film are top notch, and I hope we get to see them in more. Especially the young lady that played Piper. Sor Wong was very, very good in this. Very good. And Billy Barrett is someone that I was fully unaware of. I have no idea if he worked in anything else. I'm looking now. Well, apparently he was in Mary Poppins Returns. But he's gonna kill it. He's an amazing actor, and I think he'll go far. And Sally Hawkins was just so good in this film as the. Um, she did a very, very good job of balancing the nurturing foster mother that truly feels like, truly comes across as someone who cares and wants to help, with the grieving mother that is just doing everything she can to try to hold on to the one she's lost. Um, but really, that's all I've got on this one. I wish I had a little bit more, but I was not disappointed by this film, but I was not blown away by it. My guess is that there are going to be a lot of people that way. I sense this is going to ride somewhere between the say 4.5 to 6.5 out of 10 mark for a lot of people. For me, it's a 7. Um, I don't think I'd go back and watch it again. I don't think I need to, but I respect it for what it is and for what it's doing, and I think they did it well. But yeah, that's all I've got. So, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with me for 15, 20 minutes and talking about this movie. I hope you get out and go see it, where you catch it on streaming, and then let me know what you think. I know my opinions don't necessarily line up with the mainstream all that often. So yeah, let's have the conversation about it. Like, share, subscribe, comment down below. Hit me up on Blue Sky. Let me know what's going on there. But other than that, that's my review of Bring Her Back. I can't wait to see what the Philippou brothers do next, because they are obviously very, very talented filmmakers and storytellers. But yeah, this one did not really for me. I'll watch Talk to Me again before I come back to this one. But yeah, thanks again. Until next time, get out and go see a movie. Go see something stupid, see something dumb, see something fun, see something serious, draw some emotion out, whatever. Just get out there and support the industry. They're doing a lot of good work. But take it easy. We'll talk to you later. Cheers.